In the heart of Oregon, there's a place where time doesn't tick. It hisses, where sawdust dances in steam, and century-old machines still breathe life into wood. This isn't a museum. It's the last steam-powered sawmill in America, and it's still working. Why has this place survived when the rest of the world moved on? Come with me. We're about to enter a world where tradition refuses to die. A place time forgot. Welcome to Hull Oaks. Most people think steam power disappeared with black and white films and rotary pumps. But hidden deep in the green folds of Oregon's Willamette Valley, there's a place where steam still runs the show, not as nostalgia, but as necessity. Hull Oaks Lumber Company isn't just a sawmill. It's a living relic, the last steam-powered sawmill in the United States. For nearly a century, it's transformed the towering trees of the Pacific Northwest into the backbone of America. Beams, bridges, ships, and homes. Every inch of this place creaks with history. The saws scream with muscle, and the scent? It's a blend of hot oil, wet timber, and something else. Pride. Here, machines don't retire. They're repaired, respected, and run day after day by hands that remember what craftsmanship really means. Hull Oaks is more than a business. It's a heartbeat. So before we see how this old beast turns tree trunks into treasure, we need to understand where the journey begins. In the forest, where giants still grow and loggers still listen to wind. Timber titans of the Pacific Northwest. Step into the forests of Oregon and you'll feel it instantly. The hush, the height, the holy silence. Here, Douglas firs stretch skyward like cathedral pillars. Hemlock sway gently in the wind, and the scent of cedar clings to your skin like memory. These aren't trees. They're giants, some older than the highways they helped build. Their trunks are wide enough to carve out ships, carve out homes, even carve out history. And for generations, loggers have met them with reverence, not just saws. No scream, no satellite can replace what these men learn with instinct. How a tree leans, how the wind whispers, how the forest breathes. They don't cut recklessly. They read. One wrong move in these woods can be fatal, not just to life, but to the delicate rhythm of the forest. It's not about power, you know time to say. It's about respect. You don't take a tree like this unless you're willing to carry the weight of what it gave you. And when the final cut is made and that titan begins to fall, it's not a crash. It's a ceremony, a passing of something ancient into human hands. From here, the journey begins. A log no longer just wood, but purpose in motion. And the first to guide it down the mountain are machines. They're the men behind the yarders. A ballet of cables, cranes, and pure grit. The giants that roll, engineering the impossible. The log is down. The work is just beginning. Because getting a 40,000-pound tree off the mountain isn't a job for the faint-hearted. It's a job for legends on wheels. Enter the Kenworths and Peterbilts, the unsung war horses of the logging world. These trucks don't just haul lumber. They tame the wilderness. Built with reinforced frames, low gears, and sheer stubbornness, they climb slopes where roads barely exist, if they exist at all. They're drivers, not just truckers. They're part pilot, part mechanic, part mountain goat. Hands like leather, reflexes like hawks. They know every curve, every dip, every shadow that hides a rut or a rock. There's no GPS out here, no shoulder to pull over. Just mud, cliffs, time, and 80,000 pounds riding behind you. You learn quick, one driver tells us. Either you trust your truck, or you learn where the edge is the hard way. Every trip down the mountain is a test, a gamble. One missed gear shift, one saw patch of earth, and everything can tip. But when the convoy finally breaks through the tree lane, when steel meets sunlight and gravel gives way to road, there's a quiet kind of triumph. These machines, loud, heavy, dirty, have just carried a living thing one step closer to purpose. And where do these trucks go? Not to a warehouse, not to a factory, but to the last sawmill in America where giants are still honored, not just processed. Hull Oaks is waiting. Steam hisses. Steel sings. The log's next chapter is about to begin. Guardians of the pond, the legacy of the pond monkeys. Before the saws scream, before the steel bites, there's silence. A still mirror of water, wide and calm. But beneath that stillness is the most delicate choreography in the entire mill. This is a log pond, a giant waiting room where timber floats before its final transformation, and patrolling its surface are the last of the vanishing breed, the pond monkeys. The name might sound silly, almost comical, but out here, it's spoken with respect. It harks back to a time when men danced barefoot on floating ponds. They're balanced the difference between life and a long, cold plunge. Today, the boots are steel-toed and the tools are motorized, but the essence remains. One person, one pole, hundreds of logs, and a deep understanding of water, wood, and weight. From a tiny pond boat, they guide giants, nudging one here, spinning another there, using only momentum and instinct. A jam could paralyze the entire mill. A misstep could send them under. Precision isn't optional. It's survival. You don't control the pond, one veteran says. You learn to speak its language. They read the current like a book. Anticipate how a log might roll based on species, length, or water temperature. With a single push, they can redirect thousands of pounds. Never rushing, never forcing. Their job? Threefold. Sort, unjam, flow. Every day, every season. Rain, sun, snow. Most visitors to Hull Oaks never see them. But without them, nothing moves. Nothing begins. They are the silent pulse beneath the chaos. The first hands to touch the timber, and the last ones to let it go. And when you watch a pond monkey push a log toward the hoist, you're not just seeing labor. You're seeing legacy in motion. A craft passed down like a family recipe, with no words, only practice. Sparks and steels, the art of taming the timber. By the time a log reaches the hoist, it's floated, weighted, and been washed. Now it's time to meet the steel. The first stop, the debarking shed, where centuries of bark are stripped away like armor. In the old days, it was done by hand, blades and sweat. Today, it's a storm of spinning knives and roaring bells.
Stop the line!
Why remove the bark? Because within those rough layers lie gravel, dirt, even stone.
The machine missed it.
Anything that could wreck a $20,000 saw blade in a single pass. But more than that, removing bark reveals truth. The grain, the knots, the character of the tree. And that's when the sawyer steps in. Not just a machine operator, a craftsman, with eyes like a sculptor and nerves of steel. The sawyer makes the first cut, also known as a face cut. It's a moment of silent calculation. Where do I begin so nothing goes to waste? Because one wrong decision can turn premium timber into firewood. The log is locked into a giant steel carriage, a beast on rails. With a pull of a lever, the log surges forward into a bandsaw. A 50-foot loop of sharpened steel screaming at 9,000 feet per minute. Unlike circular saws that waste precious wood, this blade glides with precision, shaving off thick slabs as the log spins and shifts. With each pass, it becomes less wild and more defined. A square, a beam, a promise. These slabs, not discarded. They're chipped, repurposed, or burned to fuel the very steam that powers the saw. Closed loop, nothing wasted, nothing taken for granted. The sawyer doesn't just cut wood. He listens to it, feels the tension, sees the secrets hidden in the range. And when he chooses well, when the grain runs true and clean, it's like catching a melody no one else could hear. This is more than machinery. It's timber tamed by instinct, sharpened by tradition. And this is just the beginning. Because before a plank could be called perfect, it still has miles to go through blades, brushes, and human hands. When machines become family, inside the heart of Hull Oaks, most people see machines as tools. But here at Hull Oaks, they're more like old friends, stubborn, reliable, and full of quirks you learn to love. After the face cut, the log is reborn, squared into a block called a can. From there, it rides a chain of giants. The resaw slices it thin. The edger trims the rough sides. The trimmer takes out the flaws, cracks, knots, imperfections. It's like grooming a wild horse. Layer by layer, rough becomes refined. And as the wood moves, so do the workers, not just pressing buttons, but watching every detail. A squeak, a slow feed, a a tiny misalignment. They spot it before the sensors ever could. These machines don't have touchscreens. They have rhythms, clanks, hisses, that steady, ancient hum of steam and gear. You hear it before you see it. One worker says, "The carriage is a bad one today. She's leaning left." That's how deep the bond goes. They don't fix machines. They understand them. Every belt, every piston, every bolt tells a story. Some parts haven't been manufactured in 50 years. So when something breaks, it's not replaced. It's rebuilt, retooled, sometimes even reimagined from scrap. In this world, downtime is a curse. So they work together, man and machine, like duet partners who perform the same song for decades. And when everything's aligned, when the resaw sings, the chain pulls clean and the trimmer slices with a whisper, it's not just production, it's poetry in motion. No automation can replicate this dance. Because what Hull Oaks runs on isn't just steam, it's memory. And memory keeps machines alive far longer than metal ever should. The Blade Keepers, unsung heroes behind the noise. The bandsaw sings. The mill roars. But when the blades go low, everything stops. And that's when a different kind of craftsman steps in. Welcome to the filing room, the silent heart of Hull Oaks. No steam, no shouting, just the whisper of steel meeting stone. Here, the Blade Keepers work in shadows, not spotlights. They don't cut timber. They prepare the teeth that do. These blades are monsters, some nearly 50 feet long, yet only a few millimeters thick. They bend, they warp, they wear down. And if they're not sharpened to perfection, they can tear apart, turning a tool into a weapon. That's why every tooth is ground with precision. Tooth by tooth, they adjust the angle, the curve, the depth, ensuring that each one bites equally, cleanly, and true. But sharpening is only half the battle. The real secret? Tensioning. Like tuning a piano, they hammer and balance the blade by hand, reading the steel by touch and sound. It's not a science, one veteran says. Tapping a blade like a drum. It's a field, and if you don't feel it, you don't belong here. These skills aren't taught in books. They're passed down, one apprentice, one lesson, one mistake at a time. And when the new blade is ready, gleaming like a silver ribbon, the old mill pauses. The old blade is rolled away. The new one is laced into the wheels. The lever is pulled. The saw screams back to life. No one cheers. No one claps. But every worker knows. Without the blade keeper, the mill has no voice. In this quiet room, amid the smell of machine oil and hot steel, the legacy of Hull Oaks was protected, one spark at a time. More than wood, what Hull Oaks truly sells. By the end of the day, stacks of fresh mill lumber line the yard. Straight, smooth, ready for the world. But what Hull Oaks sends out isn't just wood. It's story. Each beam, each plank, carries a memory of a forest, the sweat of a pond monkey, the judgment of a sawyer, and the heartbeat of a machine that refuses to retire. Some of this timber will become bridges. Others will support ships, barns, or the bones of someone forever home. But all of it, every inch, began as something wild and became something meaningful through human hands. In a world that moves faster every year, Hull Oaks stays, not because it can't change, but because some things shouldn't. This place is living proof that tradition still has a role, that excellence doesn't need to be digital, and that legacy is worth preserving, not for nostalgia, but for wisdom. So the next time you touch a wooden railing, sit at a wooden table, or walk beneath a timber beam, think of the forest, think of the sawdust, think of the steam. And remember, somewhere in Oregon, one old mill still sings. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Hull Oaks Lumber Company, where the past isn't forgotten, it's alive. If this story moved you, share it. Let others feel the weight, the warmth, and the wonder of American craftsmanship.